The Wicked Gods are featured in the spin-off manga to Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugioh R, the one portion not yet animated and so oft-forgotten. The Wicked Gods were designed by Pegasus as an answer to the Egyptian gods, which is why their design resembles their counterparts. But Pegasus never went through with creating them out of fear of their power. But his adoptive son Yako had no such reservations, who proceeded to create them in his attempt to exact revenge on Yugi after he was erroneously told that Yugi was responsible for his father's death. As for the real-life game, the Wicked Gods were released between late 2007 and early 2008, so if you're reading them thinking they suck, don't worry, they sucked then too. But there is a lot of potential here. You got one that locks your opponent out of spells and traps for 2 turns and is always the strongest monster, one that can wipe the field, and one that halves all other monsters' attack and defense. So there is a lot of potential, but like with the Egyptian gods, running a 3 tribute monster was bulky back then, and certainly more so now. To the last point, the premise of this deck will be to A, be able to run all 3 of the Wicked Gods in one deck, and then B, make it worthwhile. If you're not familiar with Yugioh R, a lot of Yako's cards have actually already been released, and many not too long ago. Unfortunately, most of them are standalone cards that have little to do with bringing out the Wicked Gods. You know what that means. Retrain! But more seriously, the particular focus will be building on the Angel series of cards. You may be familiar with Angel 07 and Angel 01, now it's time to expand that into the Wicked Angels. The Angel series starts off with Gap the Fallen Angel. This is a retrain of Gap the Divine Soldier, one of the cards used by Yako and actually one of the earlier ones released in the TCG way back in 2009. So this retrain allows you to special summon himself from hand or graveyard if you control a level 4 or lower Angel monster, but you have to banish it when it leaves the field. You can also reveal any of the Wicked Avatar, Wicked Dreadroot, and Wicked Eraser with different names in your hand. This card gains 300 attack for each until the end of the next turn. And if you tribute him for a tribute summon, you can treat it as 1 additional tribute for every card revealed this turn by the previous effect. You can only use each effect of Gap the Fallen Angel once per turn. So with this guy, if you're able to reveal at least 2 of the Wicked Gods, then he'll count as 3 tributes and you can tribute just him to bring out one of your Wicked Gods. Next is Wicked Angel. So she can be special summoned from your hand by tributing an angel monster from your hand or field. If this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can add 1 spell or trap that mentions all 3 of the Wicked Gods from your deck to your hand, hard once per turn on each of her effects. Next is Angel of Avatar, so kinda in keeping with the theme of the counterpart aspect of the Wicked Gods being counterparts to the Egyptian gods, Angel of Avatar is the counterpart to Ra's Disciple, who on summon allows you to special summon 2 more copies of himself from your hand and or deck, then immediately after this effect resolves, you normal summon 1 of the Wicked Gods from your hand. You can now special summon monsters from the extra deck while you control this card. So this is another 1 card way to go into your Wicked Gods. You normal summon him, bring out 2 more, then you can immediately through his effect have an additional normal summon of 1 of your Wicked Gods. And rounding out the monster lineup is the fusion of all 3 of the Wicked Gods, Sutech, the creator of Chaos, which can be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from your hand and or field to the grave. You do not use polymerization. This card's summon cannot be negated and it is unaffected by the effects of other monsters, and then it has a bunch of different effects that are related to its 3 different pieces. So its stats, first and foremost being 4000 attack, 4000 defense, is a call out to the Wicked Dreadroot. Neither player can activate spell and trap cards or their effects, so the call out to the Wicked Avatar. Gains 1000 attack and defense for every card your opponent controls, so like the Wicked Eraser. And then during your opponent's end phase, you banish this card, then add this card's materials from your graveyard to your hand, 1 of each. You can only summon Sutech, the creator of Chaos, once per duel. So this is a finisher of sorts. You bring him out, you have a 4000 attack, beat stick right off the bat, gains 1000 more for every card your opponent controls. Your opponent can't activate any spells and trap cards or effects while he's out. He's unaffected by the effects of other monsters, so he has a pretty clear path to attack your opponent, with the intention that you bring him out while your opponent has something in attack mode, has enough other monsters on board, or already has lost enough damage during the duel, so you bring him out as a final way to go for game. But you do have to use him judiciously because of his great stats and great effects. You can only bring him out once per duel, so gotta make it count. The first of the spells is Wicked Calling, which on activation will allow you to add 1 of the Wicked Gods or a card that mentions all 3 of them from deck to hand. It also has the effect where if only your opponent controls a monster, you can send this card to the grave to special summon 3 Wicked tokens, then immediately after that effect resolves, tribute summon 1 of the Wicked Gods from your hand. So again, another one of those 1 card ways into the Wicked Gods. In fact, this card is probably the best added because you can activate it to search out whichever Wicked God is appropriate. then bring it out on the spot. The only stipulation is that your opponent has to have a monster, so it's especially good if you go second. The next spell is another continuous one, Wicked Ways. When you tribute summon the Wicked Avatar, the Wicked Dreadroot, or the Wicked Eraser, you draw 1 card for each tributed monster, then discard 2 cards. So for the most part, it's going to be kind of like a Graceful Charity because you're tributing 3 monsters, you draw 3, discard 2. But if you tribute Gap the Fallen Angel after having used its effect to gain additional tributes, then you might be only drawing 1 card and then discarding 2. So it kind of just evens out depending on how you run the engine. This card has another effect where you can banish it from the grave, then target one of the monsters mentioned on this card in your graveyard, so the one of the 3 Wicked Gods, and add it to your hand. So this is going to be a nifty way to make sure that you don't have to run too many copies of the Wicked Gods to bulk up your hand, and instead can just retrieve them from your grave whenever you need to. You can only activate each effect of Wicked Ways once per turn. And finally, we have the call out to all you DBZ Abridged fans, Pecking Order. So this is really in reference to the fact that in Yu-Gi-Oh! R, it is highly emphasized that the Wicked Gods, much like the Egyptian gods, have a hierarchy that is in triangular shape, where the Wicked Dreadroot and the Wicked Eraser are on a lower tier, and the Wicked Avatar is on a higher tier, much like how the Winged Dragon of Ra is on a higher tier than Obelisk, Tormentor, and Slifer the Sky Dragon. So what this card does is that it turns all 3 of your Wicked Gods into Divine Attribute and Divine Beast type while in your hand, field, or graveyard. So this is going to be able to combo your Wicked Gods with some of the Divine Beast support out there, such as Soul Crossing. The other effect that it has is pretty much playing to that Pecking Order aspect, where the Wicked Avatar on the field is unaffected by the effects of monsters except the Wicked Avatar and the Winged Dragon of Ra monsters, and the Wicked Dreadroot and the Wicked Eraser on the field are unaffected by the effects of non-divine monsters. So basically, the lower tier gods are unaffected by anything that isn't a god monster, and then the highest one, the Wicked Avatar, is unaffected by anything below it except the Winged Dragon of Ra and itself. And finally, rounding out this card's effects is giving it the same protection that the Egyptian gods have when normal summoned. The normal summon of monsters mentioned on this card, so the 3 Wicked Gods, cannot be negated, and when they are normal summoned, cards and effects cannot be activated except the effects of divine monsters. So say you were to summon the Wicked Dreadroot or the Wicked Eraser, Slifer the Sky Dragon would still be able to activate, but just about anything else won't activate. And for the trap, we have Wicked Force. So much like how it was recently revealed that it is Slifer the Sky Dragon that was behind Raigeki, it is actually the Wicked Eraser that is behind Mirror Force. Just making up lore here. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated, so much like some of the other Egyptian god support cards out there. And when it is activated, you destroy cards on the field up to the number of monsters you control whose original names are either the Wicked Avatar, the Wicked Dreadroot, or the Wicked Eraser. Then, special summon 1 Wicked token, Fiend, Dark, level 10, 2000 attack, 2000 defense, for every card destroyed this way, and for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, neither player can special summon monsters. So this will be a critical piece to setting up your opponent with a bunch of tokens in attack mode, and then say you have any of your Wicked Gods, the Wicked Dreadroot would slice their attack and defense in half, the Wicked Eraser would gain a bunch of attack depending on how many tokens you gave them, and the Wicked Avatar would always be the strongest monster on the field, so you can attack all those tokens that you summoned after getting rid of the rest of their resources to try and go for game, or otherwise you may also bring out Sutek, the creator of Chaos. Say you brought out 3 tokens on their field, Sutek would jump up to 7,000 attack, 7,000 defense, and be able to attack for at least 5,000 right there on the spot. And if not that, then it is otherwise a great way to lock out most decks from their combos because it prevents any more special summoning for the turn. So instead of doing separate videos for the combos and test hands, I'm instead going to start combining it with the custom card showcases. It only took me around 30 some odd videos to figure that this was probably the more logical, better way to do things, but hey, I'm getting there. So I'm going to show some of the ways that the deck can bring out the Wicked Gods. There are around 4 of them, not including ways such as using your opponent's monsters with cards like Soul Exchange or Soul Crossing comboed with Pecking Order, just looking at the in-archetype ways to bring out the Wicked Gods. The first of which is the 1-carder using Wicked Calling. You can grab one of the Wicked Gods or a card that mentions all 3 of them, add it to your hand. Let's grab the Eraser. And so this is especially good if you're going second, because the other effect of Wicked Calling can only be activated if only your opponent controls a monster. We can send it to the grave to special summon 3 Wicked tokens. Immediately after that, tribute summon a Wicked God from our hand. In this case, the Eraser is a great card to have because if we are going second, our opponent has any sort of field presence, we can use the Wicked Eraser's ability to destroy itself, and when it is destroyed, it destroys all other cards on the field. The next way is the Angel of Avatar approach. Angel of Avatar, when summoned, can bring out 2 more copies of itself, so this is especially good opening when you're going first, because it doesn't rely on your opponent having any monsters. And then immediately after that effect resolves, you tribute summon one of the Wicked Gods. In this case, we're going to bring out the Wicked Avatar, which is a great card to have, especially if you're up against a deck that's going to rely on spell and trap cards, because the Wicked Avatar on summon will prevent your opponent from activating any spell and trap cards until the end of their second turn after the effect activation. So that's going to block them off for essentially 2 turns while you continue to build up your own field. The next 2 ways, I'm going to show the different variations that you can use with the Angel card. So again, there's going to be a few different variations. I'm just going to show 2 of them. This one will be Angel 01 and Gap the Fallen Angel. So you can special summon Angel 01 by revealing a level 7 or higher monster in your hand, so any one of the Wicked Gods. And then Gap the Fallen Angel can be special summoned from your hand or grave if you control a level 4 or lower Angel monster. Just banish it when it leaves the field. Gap also has the other ability where you can reveal any of the Wicked Gods in your hand to increase its attack by 300 each. So that'll be, in this case, 3 more hundred. And then it also gains an additional tribute for each of the revealed cards. So in this case, it can now be considered 2 tributes instead of 1. If we had revealed 2 of the Wicked Gods, it would be considered 3 tributes. But in this case, if it's considered 2, we'll tribute it. It gets banished. The 3rd tribute will be Angel 01, and now we can bring out the Wicked Dreadroot, who will have the attack and defense of all our opponent's monsters. And the final way is going to be the Tellus Wicked Angel combination. You can special summon Wicked Angel by tributing an Angel monster from your hand or field. When Tellus hits the grave from the monster zone, it leaves behind a Tellus Wing token. And while we control one of those tokens, we can banish Tellus from the grave to special summon 2 more Wing tokens, banish the Tellus as well as 1 spell from our hand. And now we contribute 3 of our monsters, 2 of the tokens, and a Wicked Angel to tribute summon the Wicked God. And now in this case, we're going to trigger 2 effects, A, Wicked Ways, and then B, Wicked Angel. Wicked Angel, when it's sent from field to grave, we can add a spell or trap that mentions all 3 of the Wicked Gods from deck to hand. So let's grab Wicked Calling. And then Wicked Ways, when we tribute summon one of the Wicked Gods, will allow us to draw a card for each tributed monster, then discard 2 cards. So we tributed 2 tokens and the Wicked Angel, so that's going to be 3, and then discard 2. Activate the Pecking Order, activate Wicked Calling, grab Wicked Force from our deck, set the Wicked Force. And so here what we have on our field, Pecking Order is going to turn our Wicked Dreadroot into a Divine Monster and Divine Beast type, and it's going to make it immune to any other monster effects that aren't from Divine Beast monsters. And then Wicked Force is a great disruptor. It can destroy cards on the field up to the number of Wicked Gods that we control, and then it leaves behind a Wicked token with 2000 attack, 2000 defense on our opponent's side of the field for each of their cards that we destroyed. But thanks to Dreadroot, its attack is going to be halved. Its attack and defense are going to be halved. So instead of coming out 2000, 2000, it's going to come out 1000, 1000. And Wicked Force is not only a great disruptor for destroying our opponent's cards, but it also makes it so that after it resolves for the rest of the turn, neither player can special summon monsters. So it's very likely that that token is going to be left behind in attack mode, meaning that on our turn, we can go straight to our battle phase and attack for 3k. So those are some of the combos and the ways to bring out the Wicked Gods with this custom support. So that does it for the Wicked Gods custom support. Hope you enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe because next week is gonna be electric.